With the release of the new Frankenstein film on Netflix, I thought it would be appropriate to take a look at what is probably the most well-known adaptation, 1931's Frankenstein, directed by James Whale, based on the book of the same name. Oh, Mr. Lovewell, I didn't know you were coming.
What are you talking about? You invited me.
Well, get to the point. The review has already started.
Oh, yeah. I've come to destroy.
Oh no, not my action figures.
No, destroy misconceptions about the Universal Frankenstein.
Oh, it's okay, babies. You're safe.
Universal's Frankenstein isn't actually based on the book by Mary Shelley. It's actually based primarily off of a play adaptation of the book called Frankenstein, An Adventure in the Macabre, written by author Peggy Webling, much in the same fashion that Dracula was made, of course. It introduces the assistant character Fritz, only he wasn't a hunchback like in the movie. Also, the name swap between Victor and Henry, and the creature's accidental drowning of a child.
So that's why they switched the names between Frankenstein and his friend. I heard rumors that the name Henry sounded more American or friendlier than Victor, but I guess the Universal film is an adaptation of, well, an adaptation. No wonder people are so confused by the differences between these two. Now can I get to the review?
Oh, yeah, sure. If there's any other misconceptions, I'll be back.
I'm gonna run out of walls for him to crash through. Well, anyway, 1931's Frankenstein tells of Henry Frankenstein and his aspirations of creating life. He steals body parts with the help of his hunchbacked assistant Fritz. In need of a brain, Frankenstein tasks Fritz with robbing a brain from the medical university headed by Frankenstein's former teacher, Dr. Waldman. However, Fritz steals a criminal brain by mistake, and with the final piece to Frankenstein's creation complete, it is time for his experiment to go horribly wrong. Spoilers. I'd like to say that I have a guest who is joining us for this review. He goes by Mr. Lovewell and is also known as TikTok Frankenstein, and, as his username suggests, is an avid fan of all things Frankenstein. Hopefully he comes back to give me some construction tips on how to fix my walls. Oh, and also help out with the review. In all seriousness, let's talk about the film. The opening encompasses both a type of fourth wall breaking camp, while also a setup for the horror to come. This is the scene where actor Edward Van Sloan, who plays Dr. Waldman, addresses the audience directly, which I have always found amusing. It's like the beginning of a play or something similar. The other opening is when the film officially starts, where Frankenstein and Fritz are at the graveyard with the sound of mourners crying, bells chiming, and then the pouring of dirt on the coffin from the gravediggers. It's fantastic to watch and listen to, especially in the dark, say on a stormy night on Halloween. The sets are also wonderful to look at. The town is on the Universal backlot, and some of the buildings are still there. The Frankenstein house is lush and beautiful compared to the dark and ominous tower where Frankenstein conducts his experiments. Even without color, you can tell that the tower is a bleak and colorless environment. Colin Clive does a deliciously delirious job portraying Dr. Frankenstein. What now?
Oh, I just got a cramp in my thigh. I had to stretch it out. Also, Frankenstein wasn't a doctor. In the original tale, he learns what he can at the school in Budapest and then drops out to make the creature.
Ah, kind of like Good Will Hunting.
More like a good grave hunting.
Get out.
Yeah, that's fair.
Can't you just use the same hole you came through? Anyway, back to Colin Clive's performance. It's very possible he was one of the earliest examples of the crazed scientist caricature. I believe his standout performances are when he creates the monster, as well as when he's attempting to teach the monster, in lack of a better word, tricks. One of my favorite moments is when he talks to Dr. Waldman about what it means to be considered crazy, such as how if you dream too extremely, you are considered mad. I've always enjoyed this speech. All the actors do a splendid job, such as Dwight Fry, who just got off the success of playing Renfield in Dracula, along with Edward Van Sloan, who played Van Helsing in the same film. However, the one people go to most of all is Boris Karloff as the monster. Despite the terrifying makeup done by the talented Jack Pierce, Karloff is able to showcase the empathetic side of this character and how even childlike he can be. The two best examples of this, to me, are when we see him for the first time and when he interacts with the little girl Maria. In the first scene, He stumbles awkwardly into the presence of Frankenstein and Waldman, and is fascinated by the sunlight. When that is taken away from him, he looks completely saddened at the prospect of being taken away from it, and even outstretches his hands to Frankenstein as if he's asking, why? With the second scene, the monster receives kindness for the first time from Maria. It's somewhat amusing to me how it's a child who is not scared of the monster, but the adults are. Anyway, the scene gives us hope that the monster finds a place where he belongs, or has at least found a friend, but through a misunderstanding, he returns to the role as a fiend after Maria drowns. It's a truly heartbreaking scene, yet it's also one of my favorites of the Universal Monsters catalog, carried mostly from Karloff's gentle and sympathetic portrayal. What?
Oh, I'm agreeing with you. Karloff made a great monster, even though it's a far departure from what the book describes. In the book, the creature is rather intelligent and articulate. He learns to talk and plan craftily. He's also, based on some interpretations, described as rather good looking, but very creepy with long, draping black hair and dead, glossy eyes.
Huh. Why stray so far from the original design?
And the cylindrical head apparently was explained to be shaped after a tin can, so that Frankenstein can take the brain and place it in more easily. Kind of like how Victor explains that the creature will be of great size. Bigger parts means it's easier to work with.
That's fascinating. But could you just stay? The review is about to wrap up, and I don't want the roof falling in if you crash through another wall.
Oh, okay.
The scene that I always look forward to is the birth of the monster. The book is vague with how the monster was created, but here it is greatly emphasized that it is lightning that brings him to life. From the sound of the thunderstorm, the flashing of lights from the equipment, it's a dazzling display of effects and audio. And then there's the infamous scene where you see the hand of the monster move, and Frankenstein declares it to be alive. It's one of those phrases that is stuck in pop culture now, and is one of the many things about Frankenstein that is often parodied or made reference to. James Whale did a spectacular job with this film, and he'd go on to prove himself as my personal favorite director for the Universal Monster films, with his later works including the likes of The Invisible Man and Bride of Frankenstein. Thankfully, the story of Frankenstein lives on in various forms of media, and with the popularity of the Netflix film out, I'm sure we will see many more in a flash of lightning. I'd like to thank TikTok Frankenstein for joining me for this review. I greatly appreciate him being here to help me out.
Hey, no problem, Jack. Always glad to help a fellow Franken fan.
And thank you to everyone who is tuning in to watch this review of the 1931 Frankenstein. This is why I don't do skits in my reviews anymore.